Hello, and welcome to Dreamy Tales, a sanctuary where everyone can experience calm and a touch of magic before gently drifting into sleep. Tonight, we invite you on another enchanting journey, a story that helps soothe the mind and nurture a sense of peace. Before we begin, let's take a moment to prepare our bodies and minds for a comforting, restorative rest. Make yourself cozy, and with each slow inhale and long exhale, let the cares of the day gradually slip away. It's not always easy to step back from the day's demands, especially as night falls. Yet, remember, the less we worry about how quickly we'll fall asleep, the simpler it is for our minds to release any remaining tension. Allow the gentle flow of your breathing to wash away lingering concerns, and let the story ahead guide you into a state of deep relaxation. Now, settle in, and let the dreamy atmosphere softly wrap around you. Enjoy this story, and may you drift into a peaceful, restful slumber here on Dreamy Tales. In a city spun from time and dust, lived a boy named Kalen. His days were measured by the school bell's chime, followed by hours surrendered to the labyrinthine embrace of the city streets, alongside his companions. They charted courses through shadowed alleys, navigated the vibrant chaos of the markets, and sent clouds of ochre dust rising from the square with their boisterous games. Only when the sun bled crimson into the horizon did Kalen turn homeward, towards the sprawling, earth-toned house that sheltered his sprawling family. The uppermost floor held the room Kalen shared with his two elder brothers, Lauren and Reese, a space filled with the easy camaraderie of youth. Below lay the chambers of his parents, Lyra and Rorik, and the quiet rooms belonging to his Aunt Alara and his grandparents. But the heart of the home pulsed on the ground floor, the largest expanse, where the family's life truly unfolded. Here resided the shop, a treasure cave of woven artistry, and the workshop, its engine room, for generations beyond counting. Kalen's kin had conjured the most breathtaking carpets in the land, their looms singing tales in wool and dye. Patrons journeyed from distant realms, seeking bespoke floor coverings, or choosing from the dazzling array already manifest. They unfurled in every conceivable dimension, hue and motif. Diminutive prayer mats, etched in devotional greens and golds, adorned the shop walls like sacred icons. Scarlet expanses rippled with opulent, swirling geometries picked out in thread that gleamed like captured starlight. And tucked away at the rear, coiled tightly like sleeping serpents, lay the immense, weighty carpets, too grand for casual display, whose unrolling revealed staggering floral universes and patterns, nesting within patterns. Returning home, Kalen favored the path through the shop, offering a nod to his Aunt Alara presiding over the counter. Moving past this gallery of textile wonders, he'd slip through the beaded curtain partitioning the back room. He relished the cool, tickling cascade of the beads against his skin, the soft, glassy music they made as he passed. Beyond lay the workshop. Here, his parents and elder brothers were invariably immersed, seated before the tall looms, their concentration absolute, as if ensnared by an enchantment. Kalen often hesitated, reluctant to fracture their focused trance. He would linger, observing, marveling at the effortless dexterity born of long practice. Currently, the family devoted their energies to two monumental carpets, commissioned by a magnate from a neighboring metropolis, creations destined to consume months. Lyra and Rorik occupied one loom, Lauren and Reese another. Both looms stood vertical, the four weavers perched cross-legged on floor cushions, their hands summoning patterns from the warp by sheer skill. Fingers danced among the long woolen strands with such fluid grace, it seemed less like weaving and more like coaxing melodies from silent harps. Kaelin watched, mesmerized by the rhythmic elegance. He understood, from abortive attempts, the profound difficulty of their craft. It demanded reservoirs of patience, boundless creativity, and an almost microscopic attention to detail. It also required a particular nimbleness of finger and mind that Kaelin, try as he might, simply did not possess. He had sat at the loom countless times, his parents, grandparents, or brothers patiently guiding his fumbling hands. Yet the magic remained elusive. Kaelin had quietly resigned himself to a future unbound from the loom. He would forge a different path. What shape it might take remained fluid, shifting with the currents of his imagination. Some afternoons, he envisioned himself a traveling merchant, astride a sturdy horse, traversing sun-scorched deserts and mist-wreathed mountains. Other times he dreamt of becoming a stargazer, charting the celestial spheres, unlocking the cosmos' whispered secrets. Or perhaps, simpler still, he would remain here, amidst the familiar warmth of his family, tending the shop, presenting the luminous carpets they wrought to the world. That held its own quiet appeal, staying rooted in the place among the people he cherished. But the horizon of adulthood still felt distant, a hazy shoreline. There was ample time yet to discern his calling. For now, contentment lay in observing his family's artistry, in drifting through the house's familiar spaces, as evening deepened and the scent of dinner began to curl through the air. Tonight, his grandmother Serafina was conjuring his favorite spiced rice and vegetable pilaf, while his parents and brothers applied the final, meticulous touches to their day's weaving. Kaelin passed back through the shimmering bead curtain, its rattle a familiar punctuation mark. He always found solace wandering the densely packed aisles of the shop, his gaze tracing the intricate journeys woven into the carpets, awaiting their new homes. So many creations, each a distinct marvel. He'd run a finger across the plush wool, following the labyrinthine paths of pattern from edge to core. There was a peculiar calm in tracking a single curving line to its destination. Touching the carpets, Kaelin sometimes perceived that the varied colors and forms possessed distinct tactile qualities. Logically, he knew the material was largely uniform. Sheep's wool, transformed by natural dyes derived from roots and berries. Yet, as his fingertip traversed the surface, gliding from a field of crimson to one of indigo, or from a woven petal to a curling vine, a subtle shift occurred within him. A pleasant tremor, akin to a cool zephyr on a sultry night, would course through his being. These carpets, he felt certain, held a spark of the extraordinary. His attention invariably gravitated towards one specific piece. Hung against the back wall, it was a large rectangular tapestry. Its deep, plush ground was the color of richest burgundy wine, yet it seemed to contain every shade imaginable. Emerald depths, saffron sunbursts, lapis lazuli blues, and countless others. Certain elements shimmered with threads of silver, gold, and pearlescent white, as if a stray moonbeam had become entangled in the weft, illuminating the design from within. The carpet's heart depicted the tree of life, a magnificent golden entity, its myriad shining branches heavy with symbolic fruit. Nestled in each of the four corners lay a miniature, exquisitely detailed garden, enclosed by an ornamental wall. What captivated Kaelin most was the subtle variance between these Edens. From afar, the composition appeared flawlessly symmetrical. 4 identical gardens, each centered around an identical fountain. Approach closer, however, and delicate distinctions revealed themselves. One garden resembled a sun-drenched fig orchard. Another flourished with pomegranate trees heavy with ruby globes. The fauna shifted too, from placid goats to bustling hens, noble horses to iridescent peacocks. Even the representation of grass differed. One corner featured vertical strokes of golden blades, while the garden below depicted silvery waves, suggesting a tranquil sea. As a younger child, Kaelin had lost hours before this carpet, hypnotized by its intricate narratives. His gaze would wander from one miniature paradise to the next, pondering which he found most enchanting. He fantasized that one day, when grown, he too might possess such a garden, complete with a murmuring fountain, strutting peacocks, and fruit-laden pomegranate boughs. Now, a little older, the gardens still fueled his daydreams, but his thoughts also turned to the weaver, his great-grandmother, Elina. Family lore whispered that she had birthed this masterpiece single-handedly in a mere handful of months, the entire design gifted to her whole in a vivid dream. Kaelin had never known her, yet gazing upon her creation forged a palpable connection across the years. Though he lacked her prodigious talent, a quiet pride swelled within him, pride in being kin to one who could manifest such transcendent beauty. Unlike its neighbors, the garden carpet was never offered for sale. It was deemed beyond price, a sacred family heirloom. Were a potentate to arrive offering all the gold in his kingdom, the carpet would remain. Kaelin found deep comfort in knowing his favorite tapestry would always hang there, commanding its place of honor on the back wall. He could study it whenever the mood struck, lingering over every dreamlike stitch and hue. Later that night, long after the rhythms of his family's breathing had settled into the deep cadence of sleep, Kaelin found his thoughts returning, unbidden, to the carpet. Images from the day flickered behind his closed eyelids. The sun-drenched square where he'd idled with friends. The vibrant skeins of newly dyed wool drying like captured rainbows on the patio. And the woven visions of the 4 gardens, each a glittering, self-contained paradise. Sleep remained elusive, yet he wasn't truly restless. He lay contentedly, observing the slow parade of memories drifting through the quiet theater of his mind. The room was profoundly still, save for the soft, rhythmic sighs of his sleeping brothers, and the distant, haunting cry of a night bird piercing the velvet darkness outside the window. It felt as though he and that solitary bird were the only souls awake beneath the vast, indifferent sky. When sleep proved particularly stubborn, Kaelin often found solace in rising for a short while. He would wander the silent house, perhaps step onto the roof terrace to inhale the cool night air, clearing the day's residue from his thoughts. This brief intermission usually left him feeling refreshed, yet paradoxically closer to slumber. Upon returning to bed, sleep typically claimed him the instant his head met the pillow. And so, after lying awake for some time, Kaelin slipped from his bed. Lighting a small candle, its flame a fragile bloom in the darkness, he donned light slippers and moved with practiced silence across the room, careful not to disturb Lauren or Reese. He descended the stairs soundlessly, his small light preceding him, until he stood within the shadowed expanse of the shop. In the midnight hush, the shop transformed. It felt less like a place of commerce and more like a sanctum. Utter silence reigned, broken only by the faint hiss of his candlewick. The sole illumination came from his flickering flame and the ethereal glow of the moon filtering through a high window. Silvery beams slanted across the room, seeming to alight gently upon the stacked carpets. Observing the tender fall of light, Kaelin smiled. Perhaps the moon, too, understood the need for quiet reverence in this space. His intention was to step outside onto the terrace momentarily. The night air was warm, and the promise of a cool breeze beckoned before he returned to bed. But first, he allowed himself one final, lingering look at the garden carpet, suspended against the far wall. He savored the feeling of having it entirely to himself. No Aunt Alara at the counter, no distracting chatter of customers. Just Kaelin, alone, held captive by the woven splendor of the tree and its miniature worlds. Time itself seemed to pause. In the wavering candlelight, the colors shifted and blurred, playing tricks on the eye, deepening the carpet's mystique. Then, something impossible happened. The carpet itself seemed to stir, as if touched by an unfelt breeze. A gentle wave rippled through the heavy fabric, causing the patterned leaves of the tree of life to shimmer like disturbed water. Kaelin blinked, glancing around in bewilderment. The air within the shop was perfectly still. The window remained closed. Besides, it was inconceivable that a mere draft could animate such a substantial tapestry. He must be drowsier than he'd thought, his mind conjuring phantoms. Time for bed, he chided himself silently. Yet, as his gaze returned to the carpet, he knew, with a certainty that defied logic, that it was moving. A soft rippling intensified, billowing outward from the wall. He instinctively stepped back, watching in stunned silence as the carpet detached itself smoothly, silently, from its moorings. Now it hovered before him, suspended in midair. Kaelin blinked again, rubbing his eyes fiercely. Surely this was a dream, but the carpet remained, impossibly present. He reached out a trembling hand, his fingers brushing the soft, familiar wool fibers. The sensation was utterly real. The carpet was floating, flying. It began to drift towards the stairs, moving like some vast exotic butterfly or a strange, silent creature navigating an invisible current. Though Kalen knew it was merely woven wool and thread in that moment, the carpet felt undeniably sentient, possessed of purpose, guiding him. Still caught in a state somewhere between dream and waking trance, Kalen followed. Up the stairs he climbed, past the darkened doorways of the rooms where his family slept peacefully, unaware. He ascended all the way to the top, emerging onto the familiar expanse of the roof terrace. The night sky arched above, strewn with diamond dust stars, a breathtaking vista. On any other night, Kalen would have lingered here, lost in contemplation of the heavens. Tonight, however, his gaze was fixed solely on the magical apparition before him. The carpet had halted its ascent, but it continued to float, undulating gently in the still air. Strands of gold and silver thread seemed to capture and amplify the moonlight, making parts of it glow with an inner luminescence. Kalen watched, breathless with wonder. It was like stepping into one of the fantastical tales his mother used to spin for him at bedtime. Stories populated by jinn and talking beasts and impossible enchantments. To imagine such things was one matter. To witness them was utterly transformative. A wave of pure, unadulterated joy surged through him. Even if this were merely a dream, what a glorious dream it was! Yet the cool night air on his skin, the solid tiles beneath his slippers, the very texture of the floating carpet, it all felt undeniably real. And when the carpet slowly spread itself out before him, hovering just inches above the terrace floor, Kalen didn't hesitate. An instinct deeper than thought told him precisely what to do. He sat down carefully in the very center of the carpet, directly upon the woven image of the golden tree of life. Settling into a comfortable cross-legged position, he reached out and stroked the velvety surface, a silent signal of readiness. The carpet seemed to comprehend. Seconds later, it began to move again, lifting smoothly, effortlessly from the terrace floor. Upward it ascended, higher and higher, until, like a great silent bird, it took flight. Suddenly, impossibly, Kalen was riding a flying carpet. He was being borne aloft, gliding above the familiar rooftops with astonishing smoothness, feeling as weightless as a wind-borne seed. Kalen peered over the edge, heart pounding with exhilaration and awe. The ground was already receding rapidly below. It felt akin to riding on the back of some mythical winged steed. The carpet moved with a fluid confidence, as if possessed of its own navigational wisdom. Strangely, sitting upon a flying carpet felt utterly natural. Kalen felt secure, cradled by the soft wool, implicitly trusting its power to carry him safely. As it glided onward, he drank in the panoramic view of his city, transformed by darkness and altitude. He knew these streets intimately, yet from this vantage point, they became an unfamiliar tapestry of shadow and form. Gazing down upon the clustered rooftops, he could scarcely recognize his own neighborhood. Naturally, at this hour, the city lay cloaked in slumber. nearly every soul was asleep. The only terrestrial lights were the flickering flames of street lanterns and the occasional lonely candle burning in a high window. The moonlight didn't illuminate sharp details, but instead bathed everything in a soft, silvery wash. The rooftops gleamed as if polished by celestial hands, burnished like precious metal. Kaelin imagined a secret, nocturnal ritual taking place. After midnight, the moon performed a silent benediction, shining upon each house in turn. Meanwhile, the inhabitants slept on, oblivious to the quiet magic unfolding above their heads. A smile touched Kaelin's lips. He felt uniquely privileged, the sole witness to this clandestine beauty. But as the carpet drifted eastward, angling towards the dark ribbon of the river, he realized his solitude was not absolute. There was at least one other denizen of the city, awake at this hour, sharing the night's profound tranquility. Near the river stood the imposing structure of the Grand University, crowned by its tall brick tower. And at the very summit of that tower, silhouetted against the stars, stood a figure peering through a long telescope. Kaelin knew the city housed astronomers, but he had never before witnessed one at their nocturnal vigil. As the carpet drew closer to the tower, Kaelin leaned forward, peering with curiosity. To his surprise, the stargazer was a young man, perhaps not much older than his own brothers. Kaelin had vaguely pictured someone ancient and wizardly, but this was just an ordinary man, lost in the immensity of the cosmos. The astronomer was so engrossed in his observations that Kaelin initially thought he might glide past entirely unseen. But just as the carpet drew almost level with the tower's peak, the young man stepped back from his instrument and looked up, directly at Kaelin and the impossible carpet. For a suspended moment, only a few meters of cool night air separated them. They stared at each other in silent, mutual astonishment. Then, uncertain what else to do, Kaelin offered a tentative, shy wave. After a beat of stunned hesitation, the stargazer slowly, wonderingly waved back. Like Kaelin, he was likely questioning the reality of the sight, perhaps resolving to pack away his telescope and seek his bed immediately. The carpet flew onward, now drifting parallel to the dark, sinuous course of the river. Feeling more at ease, Kaelin decided to lie down. The soft, thick pile of the carpet felt as welcoming as his own bed. Supine, gazing directly upward, he found himself in the perfect posture for stargazing. He lacked the astronomer's powerful lens, but the naked beauty of the celestial display was overwhelming enough. The stars seemed impossibly distant, yet their ancient light had journeyed across unimaginable voids to sparkle here, above his city, above his home. From this perspective, lying on his back amidst the heavens, there was nothing but stars. It felt as though the carpet were carrying him directly into the firmament, lifted by the night breeze like a solitary drifting leaf. The wind caressed his skin, whispering lightly through his clothes. After the day's oppressive heat and humidity, it felt exquisitely refreshing, like plunging into cool water. Kaelin could smell the river now, its damp, earthy scent carried on the same currents that bore him aloft. Breathing deeply, he identified other familiar fragrances woven into the night air. The mineral tang of the dry earth, and the sweet perfume of unseen blossoms in the gardens far below. He felt profoundly relaxed now, lulled by the carpet's gentle rhythmic motion. He could have easily drifted off to sleep right there, imagining the carpet following the river's meandering path onward, ever onward, until it reached the distant, unseen sea. But the carpet, as if sensing his growing drowsiness and the completion of its purpose, subtly shifted direction. When Kalen roused himself slightly and peered over the edge again, he recognized the familiar configuration of streets and buildings below, nestled in slumber. There was the distinct dome of his neighborhood temple, and nearby, the darkened square where he played with his friends. And now, incredibly, he was hovering directly above the roof terrace, precisely where this extraordinary journey had commenced. The carpet had brought him home. It descended with the same preternatural gentleness with which it had taken flight. Kalen felt himself lowered so gradually, so softly, that the landing was almost imperceptible. After stepping carefully off the now stationary carpet, he turned and began to head downstairs towards his bedroom. This time, the carpet followed silently behind him, like a devoted, strangely silent pet. When Kalen climbed back into his bed, the carpet settled quietly onto the floor beside him. Perhaps it, too, was weary after their nocturnal excursion, Kalen mused. After the long, wondrous flight, they were both ready for rest. As Kalen made himself comfortable, adjusting his pillow and smoothing the bed covers, he noticed the carpet doing something subtly similar. It shifted its position on the floor, just slightly. Then, its patterned surface seemed to ripple softly, as if a gentle sigh passed through its woven fibers. Kalen imagined the carpet taking a deep, slow breath, mirroring his own. A quiet inhalation, followed by a peaceful release. Kalen closed his eyes. At long last, sleep felt close, welcome. And just moments later, he drifted off, his mind filled with fading echoes of the wind, the distant stars, and the silent, magical wonder of his moonlit flight. Let your focus drift now, inward, toward the canvas of imagination. Our scene materializes on a hushed street within a sprawling metropolis, sometime after the sun has relinquished the sky. Amber luminescence spills from the street lamps, pooling warmly on the pavement. Here, despite the city's vastness, the faint, familiar thrum of crickets weaves itself beneath the urban symphony. Distant traffic murmurs, the phantom footsteps of crowds on other thoroughfares, perhaps bound for late suppers or evening diversions. Yet this particular lane rests in quietude. An occasional vehicle whispers past, but mostly the only companions have been solitary dog walkers or figures merging with busier avenues elsewhere. Before you looms an edifice of sheer glass, stretching skyward into the deepening indigo. Clouds drift overhead, catching the city's refracted glow, painted in the transient washes of pearl, ochre, rose, and, in places, a surprising cerulean. Briefly, you turn from the structure, absorbing the skyline beyond. The city unfurls, an intricate tapestry woven from countless pinpricks of light. windows blinking awake or dimming to sleep as lives unfold within offices, homes, destinations unknown. Night shifts commence. Distant skyscrapers ignite as others fade. A city, you muse, breathes with such relentless vitality. There's an invigorating pulse to it, knowing thousands share this moment, pursuing their own narratives. Though strangers populate this urban expanse, a subtle connection hums, a shared thread in the journey, felt even across the distance. With a quiet exhalation of contentment, you pivot back towards the building. Its glass skin mirrors the urban constellations and the ethereal, light-kissed clouds. No signage declares its purpose, merely a number etched discreetly. You'd stumbled upon the address, almost serendipitously, printed on a flyer tacked to a lamppost, its tearaway tabs dangling, advertising a place intriguingly named the Ethereum Spa. With the evening stretching open and unplanned, curiosity beckoned you to investigate this whisper of a place. The entrance is a portal of mirrored glass. Interior lights are discernible, yet they reveal nothing beyond your own reflection superimposed against the city receding behind you. A long, burnished metal bar serves as the handle. No time like now, you murmur, extending a hand, pressing gently. The door yields inward, releasing a soft cascade of warm, white light. You step across the threshold, the door sighing shut in your wake. A moment's pause allows your vision to acclimatize, transitioning from the nocturnal dimness outside. You stand within an understatedly elegant lobby. Flanking the entrance, large white ceramic planters cradle verdant life. Plants with broad, fan-like leaves introducing a stroke of organic green into the predominantly white and cream palette. Directly ahead, a bank of elevators awaits, each door framed in polished gold trim. The same lustrous gold accents the call buttons and the overhead light fixtures. Nothing else occupies this space, it seems. No reception desk, no diverging corridors, just the elevators, the plants, and you. Your footsteps echo faintly on the marble floor as you approach the nearest lift. A brief consideration. Then you depress the button marked with an upward arrow. The Ethereum Spa, after all, resides at the summit. Seconds later, a delicate chime announces the imminent parting of gleaming white doors. They slide open to reveal an elevator car constructed primarily of glass, also accented with gold. Every surface gleams, impeccably polished. Stepping inside, you turn to the control panel. At the apex, a button bears the simple letter A. Beside it, elegant engraving confirms Ethereum Spa. You press it softly. The same gentle chime resonates as the doors seal you within. With barely a whisper, the crystalline lift commences its ascent. As it carries you upward at a measured pace, the building's architectural brilliance unfolds. The transparent enclosure offers an uninterrupted vista through the structure's own glass facade. Mesmerized, you watch the city sprawl beneath, its lights glittering towards the horizon. This far past sunset, only the faintest vestige of day remains, a deep, bruised orange bleeding into the encroaching blackness where the sun dipped low. Gazing higher, past the urban spires and towers, beyond apartments and billboards, a night sky emerges, dusted with diamond-bright stars. A few attenuated clouds drift languidly, reflecting the city's luminescence back upon itself. The spectacle is utterly breathtaking. With each floor surmounted, the panorama expands. Taxis and cars shrink, becoming mere specks of mobile color far below. Traffic signals and illuminated signs transform into distant fairy lights, tiny enough to adorn a window pane. You glide smoothly upward, as if ascending to meet the stars themselves, until the elevator decelerates to a gentle stop. The delicate chime sounds once more. This time, the opening doors reveal an elegant reception lounge. Each corner hosts large leafy botanicals, akin to those downstairs, the presence softened by trailing vines gracing the walls behind them. To one side sits a check-in desk. In the same sophisticated script seen within the lift, the Ethereum Spa is emblazoned in gold across its front. The wall behind it is a marvel, a floor-to-ceiling waterfall feature, curtains of water streaming down smooth glass into a shallow basin below. For an instant, you close your eyes, absorbing the tranquil murmur of the flowing water. The sound itself seems to smooth the edges of your thoughts. You draw a deep breath, welcoming the nascent calm, and release it slowly, feeling subtly refreshed. Opening your eyes, you find someone now stands behind the desk, regarding you with a warm smile. It's Ilara. She beckons you closer. You explain how you found the spa's address, how the name piqued your curiosity. "Many find us that way," she replies softly, her voice melodious. "We are something of a hidden jewel," she adds, expressing pleasure that you discovered it tonight. She outlines various offerings but recommends the starlight immersion for newcomers, a signature experience promising time in one of their finest chambers, culminating in a dip in the rooftop pool beneath the cosmos. That sounds perfectly restorative. You agree. Ilara presents you with a plush robe and complimentary slippers, then gestures towards a hallway on the left. "That way, when you are prepared," she instructs gently. You offer your thanks, and, a contented smile forming, proceed down the indicated corridor. The first door opens into a changing room. You don the robe. Its fabric is impossibly soft, enveloping you in a comforting embrace. It features generous pockets and a deep hood, which you momentarily pull up, rubbing the plush material against your cheek, coaxing forth that satisfied smile. Letting the hood fall back, you slide your feet into the matching slippers, a perfect fit. You settle onto a simple yet refined bamboo bench. It appears sculpted from a single piece of wood bent and carved into its fluid shape. Mentally tracing its lines, contemplating its creation, you feel your thoughts drift into quieter currents. Lingering anxieties from the day dissolve in this serene atmosphere. Your mind opens, receptive to curiosity, to gentle meanders of thought. It's as if mind and body alike are finally permitted to breathe deeply, rhythmically, unhurried by the day's demands. As you breathe, you become aware of the soothing fragrance of lavender permeating the air, carrying with it a wave of relaxation that unfurls through your body. Your eyelids grow heavy as you focus on the gentle scent. You are utterly present. In this moment, this space, here at the Ethereum Spa. Presently, the sound of quiet footsteps approaches from the hall. You open your eyes. Alara has returned to guide you to the first treatment room. Rising from the bamboo bench, you follow her down the corridor. She turns right, leading you towards a dimly lit room on the left. Once your eyes adjust to the subdued illumination, she ushers you into an adjoining chamber that steals your breath. 2 entire walls are floor-to-ceiling glass, revealing a near panoramic vista of the city lights. At the room's heart sits a hot tub, its surface bubbling with inviting jets. The water is infused with lavender, its calming aroma carried aloft by the rising steam. A narrow bamboo pathway leads from the entrance to the tub's edge. But the most arresting feature is the constellation of candlelight. Hundreds of white pillar candles adorn the floor, their flames flickering, dancing, reflecting endlessly in the glass walls and the mirrored ceiling above, mimicking both the city's sparkle outside and a starry expanse overhead. The room is yours, for as long as you wish. Alara murmurs. You gaze, awestruck, at the luminous scene, thanking her before she quietly departs. You tread the bamboo path, winding between rows upon rows of glimmering candles. The way each individual flame shivers and sways reminds you of fireflies blinking against a summer night. At the path's end awaits the tub, perfectly square, elevated slightly. Its outer edge is lined with bamboo slats, forming convenient benches. The calming lavender scent is distinct here, yet gentle, not overwhelming. Closing your eyes, you could almost imagine standing amidst lavender fields, stirred by a warm breeze. But the rising steam and the soft burble of the jet soon draw you back from reverie to the present moment. You inhale deeply, noticing how the fragrant air fills your senses, then exhale, detecting the subtle complexities of the aroma, mingling with the warm vapor. Now you are ready. You pause momentarily on the bamboo bench before slowly immersing your feet into the tub. Warmth radiates instantly through your body as the effervescent water kisses the soles of your feet. Savoring the transition, you let your feet dangle near the surface, feeling the bubbles churn beneath your toes. Then, calmly, you lower them further, soles, toes, heels up to your ankles. Shifting your weight on the bench, the water climbs to your shins, your calves. Finally, the moment arrives. You surrender completely, lowering yourself into the clear, lavender-scented water, feeling it embrace and support you. After a few moments adjusting, you position yourself so the jets gently knead your lower back and shoulder blades. With each pulse of warm water and bubbles, you feel tension dissolve, muscles easing into profound relaxation. Settled, your gaze drifts out through the glass walls to the city below. Skyscrapers preside over apartment blocks, which in turn loom over parks where trees appear as silvered silhouettes in the moonlight. Headlights and taillights stream along the busy arteries, ribbons of white and red crisscrossing the urban grid. High above, the city's own light paints the sky. Yet through this luminous veil, a magnificent array of stars pierces the darkness, peeking between the slow drift of wayward clouds. Time seems to dissolve as you lose yourself in the tranquility, observing the sparkling cityscape. You're unsure how long you remain suspended in this warm, bubbling haven, but eventually a desire for something cooler, a different kind of serenity, begins to surface. You rise from the hot tub, wrapping the soft robe around you once more, sinking into its comforting plushness. Soon, Elara reappears silently. The final experience awaits you outside, she says, her smile hinting at something special. The thought is intriguing. Anticipation stirs within you. She leads you from the candle-lit sanctuary down another hallway. Reaching its end, she pushes a long metal bar, opening a glass door. You follow her out onto the rooftop terrace. A light breeze greets you, making you appreciate the warmth of the robe and slippers. The air isn't cold, though. It possesses the perfect crispness for a night like this. Elara guides you past wicker armchairs plump with cushions, past more potted greenery in familiar white ceramic containers, past a pair of inviting daybeds designed for sun-drenched lounging. She stops before the most breathtaking swimming pool you have ever encountered. It's an infinity pool, designed to create the illusion of merging directly with the skyline at the roof's edge. Of all the vistas tonight, this is unequivocally the most spectacular. Again, it is yours to enjoy for as long as you desire, she tells you softly, before turning back towards the interior. You murmur your gratitude for her gracious hospitality, then turn back to the pool. It glows an arresting turquoise blue, illuminated by soft underwater lights that shimmer through the water. Tentatively, you dip a toe in to test the temperature. Heated. No need to worry about the night air's coolness. You take your time entering, descending a set of shallow steps into the waiting area. At the bottom, the water reaches only your waist. You move towards the deeper section until buoyancy takes over. Tucking your legs beneath you, you execute a few slow, lazy kicks before leaning back, allowing yourself to float. Eyes turn towards the vast celestial canvas above. It's a sky saturated with stars tonight, countless and impossible to enumerate, even if you floated here for hours. Instead, you trace the familiar patterns of favorite constellations, watching as clouds drift like sheer silk across their light, carried on the gentle breeze. The warm water cradles you like a comforting embrace as you drift idly across the pool's surface, surrendering to the subtle current. Your focus sharpens. The sensation of water lapping against your back, the clean scent of the pool, mingling with steam rising into the night air. The distant stars and proximate clouds. The temperature on your skin. A tapestry of sensation. In this suspended moment, gratitude washes over you for the pool's embrace, the sky's immensity, the city's vibrant beauty spread below. Silently, you offer words of kindness to yourself. It was your own intuition, after all, that led you here. Your decision to embrace the unknown tonight. The power of small choices can be easily overlooked. Yet tonight, you feel profound appreciation for the impulse that guided you to this place of extraordinary calm and centering. This gratitude fills you, expanding into a sense of peace, of quiet joy. Your heart feels open, receptive again to the subtle hum of interconnectedness with every soul animating the city tonight. This place, this experience, is now woven into the fabric of your journey. Finding your balance, you sit up, paddling gently towards the far edge of the infinity pool. Here, you rest your arms on the smooth lip, head pillowed upon them. gazing out at the dual spectacle of the glittering city and the star-strewn heavens. You are welcome to remain here as long as you wish, returning home only when sleep truly calls. But for now, you linger, absorbing the tranquil panorama, the sensation of warm water enveloping you. You are utterly, completely at peace, here at the Ethereum Spa.